Hello, my friends. This is Kathleen from Be Again Books, and I'm here to show you this pretty coral pink junk journal. I have finished it. Yeah, and I really like the way it's turned out. I have saved this book cover. It's recycled, and it has a pretty book cloth, you know, but it's treated, and so yeah, it's in good shape. And I have done this pretty collage on the front, and this little piece was the tag from that suitcase that came from the thrift store. Yeah, so that is really worn and old. Got a little cigar band, some vintage stamps. Anyway, I just kind of like the way that turned out, and I've used my beads and elastic, and I like the way this is a beautiful bead, and it matches this butterfly. So yeah, let's go in and we'll see what I've done. So this first, this is the original inside book cover pictures. It's got this pretty lavender and the green. I loved the green. Anyway, I've got a couple of little pieces of ephemera here in this corner. And this is some vintage ledger, and I've got this little flip out with this vintage envelope, and I've made just a little card. It's a little note from 1958, but there's a little bit of room to write on that, and that fits back inside the envelope. There we go. It's a pretty sanded book page illustration of English roses. More roses on this side. This is just a little, let's take that off, one of those little, you know, notebook little things. Yeah, on a flip over journaling paper. And I have a tiny paper clip to hold that on. Some vintage paper, avocado dyed paper, coffee dyed paper. Here's a little button card that I've made into just a little tuck spot, and just a scrap of paper there. This is a large vintage magazine page that I have folded it up and bound it in, and that makes a little envelope, and just made a little journal paper to go in there. Some napkin decoupage. This is a little pocket made from an illustration, book illustration, and I have one of my large pocket clusters, and this pretty journaling paper. Little pocket on this side, an altered guest check. Pretty lace. Here's the center of the first signature. This little page embellishments. This is some flyleaf paper. It's pretty color, and I thought it matched this pretty butterfly. And this is kind of a wraparound pocket, peekaboo pocket on this side, with some, this is French paper. This is a pretty glassine envelope that I have smushed and stenciled. We have a couple of these masterboard type tags. We'll flip out. Here's the other side of that magazine page pocket, and just a little vintage note paper in there. Here's a little short with little ephemera in this tuck. Some stickers on this page. Pocket from that book page. The other side of that ledger paper. This is the second signature, and I've made a little journaling card. Used these vintage grain stamps here on that little uptuck. Isn't that pretty paper? Pretty, pretty. This is a little corner top tuck with a vintage check. This is also a wraparound pocket, and I just have some vintage ephemera in each of these pockets. This is a triple pocket flip, and got a little vintage note paper in there. And then there's 3 pockets here. Got my K card. Just a little button card and a vintage photo. On this side is another peekaboo pocket. This is a really beautiful vintage card, calling card or trade card, I think. Just a little collage here. And this is just a little trifold tag there. Some vintage lace. Here is that dog ear embellishment for the center of this signature. Room to put a little quote or something on the back. Yeah. This is just a wraparound journal paper for this page here. So I've put a pocket here with another button card. And that's pretty. I've done some water damage on the front, and so that helped the ink kind of leak through, and I like the way that looks. So it's a little high. There we go. Some vintage book page. lace. That pretty paper again. The ledger makes a little, there's a little tuck there, and then a pocket on this side. Here's one of our Echo journal cards that we made. Oops. And here's the third signature. A little bit of a collage there. Some vintage stationery. This is a repurposed calendar page that I've sanded. Done a little cut edge there on that edge. Oh yes, this, okay, that's the ephemera, and this is our little pocket flip out that we did. I'm really loving making these little, they're just little tiny clusters, little midget clusters. And I've got them in several places throughout this book. So here is our torn paper pocket. Remember doing this with me, I hope, a couple weeks ago in a video. There's a vintage postcard of a box canyon in Colorado. And then I really love this. This is a beautiful watercolor painting. Just a journal paper, pretty pattern. Some eyelet lace. There's a little corner pocket with a book illustration, journal paper. So it's very summery, this journal. There's another one of these little cluster midgets. And here is another glassine envelope. So, and another little tag with some napkin decoupage. We've got 1940, the Bell Telephone Company, a bill for local service, and just a little journaling tag I made just for that pocket. Put something else there too. There's the other side of that pretty calendar page, and the stationery, and there's the last pretty page. And that's this pretty pink journal. I will list this on my Etsy, so you can look for a link down below along with all the, the other details. And I appreciate you being with me today. Thanks so much. I'll see you again with a new project.